Ron Mark.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Firstly, I'd like to pass on New Zealand First's thanks and gratitude to all parliamentary staff, and I won't attempt to list all of the departments, although the ones that we tend to bump into most frequently tend to be the messengers, tend to be the security, tend to be those people in the library and such, but it is a full team in behind the scenes, we know, that make it possible for us to do the work that we do here in Parliament, hopefully for the betterment of the nation. I want to pass on my thanks in particular to all Select Committee staff, and Christmas greetings to the Local Government and Environment Select Committee. Scott, you've done a very good job over this last year, so I thoroughly enjoyed working in there with you. I want to acknowledge you, Mr Speaker, and to say that if you notice that maybe I've been a little less inflammatory over the last few days or so, it's probably because I've found less to be inflamed about, and I just trust that in the new year things may progress in that way, because I actually find that more enjoyable, Mr Speaker. I would say also, and when I came back to Parliament after a 6-year sabbatical, I like to look upon it as that. I have to say, Mr Speaker, there's that movie, you know, Back to the Future, but I get this horrible sense that we've come forward to the past. And why do I say that? Because some things don't seem to have changed. I look at, that's right, I look at what the topics that are being debated today, and excuse me, but if this resonates a little, IT, Labor, Government, INSIS, LINS. Oh, National Government, NovaPay, Police budget on their IT project blowout. Do you get something in the picture? If not, let's talk about this. Labor on defence, LAVs, Steyr rifle, NH90s. Disaster. National trying to convince the country that we need to buy 2 C-17s at a cost of $1 billion for a strategic airlift that we don't need. It sort of harks back to the Charles Upham, and you tend to get the sense that National, just like Labor, when it comes to defence, are all at sea and totally giving us all seasickness, quite frankly, just watching their actors. Corrections. Day after day, we see this play out on corrections. But I look back at the time I was in Parliament previously. What did we have? Labor, goon squad. Well, the difference is under National, it's not the corrections officers beating up the inmates, it's the inmates beating up themselves in fight clubs. Home detention under Labor. What an absolute debacle that was. And we sadly had a field day taking them to task on that. Incompetence in corrections under Labor, and what do we see today? Incompetence under National with Serco. The flag. Labor runs up the flag, runs up their policy on their poll to change the New Zealand flag. National grabs it with both hands, kisses it with glee, and runs it straight up their poll. And here we have a referendum which is going to be an absolute disaster. A PR disaster. And if I could give the National Government a Christmas present right now, it would be this suggestion on the back of what our leader in New Zealand, Winston Peters, has said. Pull the pin. Pull the pin, get out while you can, government, because you're on a hiding to nothing on that one. Lead balloon comment of the year. Not made in the House, not made publicly, given to me by a soldier in a Special Force unit that the Prime Minister and his officials visited in Australia. What not to say when you are looking at a group of Special Force soldiers who are wearing balaclavas and gloves. This is what not to say. Do these boys think they are special? They could at least remove their masks. Goes down like a cup of cold sick, let me assure you of that. Mr Speaker, there's a lot more so I could say, but I want to say this. My team, New Zealand First, congratulations to them, to the parliamentary staff on the New Zealand First team, to the New Zealand First caucus who held the fort back here, allowed the Leaver to campaign full-time, and what a moment that was in Northland. Northland is National Stalingrad. That's where it came to a grinding halt, and from here on it's all backward pedalling for the National Government going forward. 2016, you know, do your homework, guys, start building some friends around the place. Mr Speaker, I want to finish on this note. To all of the people who will be out there working in emergency services, police, hospitals, fire service, emergency service NGOs like Victim Support and the Sallies, Merry Christmas, and we wish you luck and you and your families. To Defence Force people deployed all over the world, we wish you a very Merry Christmas. We know you're separated from your loved ones. We are thinking of you at this moment. We may not agree with all the deployments, but we certainly support unequivocally all of our men and women in the New Zealand Defence Force, wherever they may be. Merry Christmas, Mr. Speaker. Merry Christmas to all parties.